So next we have Mr. Arjun Prasad, member CII National Committee on Design and CEO and founder director of Desmania. He'll be speaking about new and unique packaging designs.
Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Anuj Prasad, not Arjun Prasad. Yeah, very sorry about it. Never mind. I thought I just corrected. So, I don't know if many of you would know about Desmania. The Desmania is an industrial design company which specializes in product design, packaging design, and automotive design. And we have two offices, two full service offices in Delhi and Bombay. So, I'm here to speak about packaging. And packaging has been one of our forte, and we have kind of specialized in it by our shared experience with several big names in the industry, largely working with the FMCG industry in the area of packaging. So what I have to share with you today is largely our learning rather than talking about the case studies, because I'll also given a special instruction by CIA not to talk about the company profile and all. So it's a huge learning which we have made by doing real life projects with companies like PNG, Dabur, GSK, like the whole lot. I think we have worked with all the FMCG companies, and our you know this is one area which is actually not taught in the design schools so much. Packaging is just one of the subjects. But as a company, we decided to foray into packaging just by our sheer interest and inquisitiveness about the subject. And we created our own portfolio, and that's how we started going to these companies to tell them as to what the designers can do. And I think we would be one of the few first initial design companies who actually went into doing structural packaging for several FMCG companies. So I'll just take you through certain learnings, and certain work is our own, and a lot of work is also from outside. So I think all of you would appreciate that design thinking is becoming a very, very big tool for any kind of a creative work. And like in any design project, we use a lot of design thinking in packaging design also. So packaging has become extremely important because packaging is the first interaction of the consumer with the product or a brand. So it is taking like huge proportions now because I think whether you're in the FMCG industry or you're in the consumer durable industry, you have to finally showcase your product through packaging in a shop, and that's the reason packaging is being taken extremely seriously by all kinds of manufacturers. So it has to be a smart packaging, and with the technology coming in, you need to make it smarter and smarter by using new methodologies and new way of integrating the technology in the packaging. So one of the big things which you have learned over the period of time is that any packaging which you design has to be extremely disruptive. So disruptive, many times it sounds like a very negative word. How many of you would be using disruptive as a design attribute? Anybody? I'm sure. Sorry.
Disruptive innovations.
Yeah. So what does disruptive innovation mean to you?
Means जो अलग से निकला हो. Game changer. Game changer kind of.
So it has to disrupt the normal. It's a pretty straightforward definition that it has to disrupt the normal. So if everybody is sitting with a certain style of apparel, and someone else comes with a red shirt and a blue hat, the guy actually disrupts the normal, and that is how packaging goes. You have to disrupt the normal. And in today's time, if you look at any store, when you go out in the market, whether it's the modern trade or if you go to a kirana shop, you will see a huge amount of clutter which happens in these places. It may be organized, but still you have hundreds of brands which are vying for each other, vying to compete with each other, and you don't see you see only certain colors which are happening, certain shapes which are happening, but you don't see the brand at all. So one of the foremost thing which we again learned through the experiences is that You need to disrupt the clutter in a very big way when you're designing packaging. Otherwise, your product gets lost. Second is that, like any product, packaging, because it is your brand ambassador, it needs to be experiential in nature. So, how many of you would have used iPhones? Many of you, I'm sure, and all of you, I'm sure, would have remember the way you would have unboxed iPhone. Is that right? Is it a lingering thought which you have? Many people remember. So, and there are several other packaging. I don't know how many of you will be using Kindle, for example. So Kindle is not like iPhone. It is little raw in nature, but it's an awesome piece of packaging because they have really made it green. All the materials which I use in the Kindle packaging are all eco-friendly materials, and they don't have any color in it. So even not adding color means disruption. Then as the design fraternity, I'm sure all of you would appreciate the role of perception because all of us are actually working only for creating perceptions. That perception is so important in actually talking about the length and width of the product or the depth of the product because if you don't create the right perception, a great design done by you doesn't fall into the segment where you are planning to put it in. So perceptions are great. We need to enhance the perceptions by packaging. And there's something called DQ, which is desirability quotient, which is there in everybody. The people who have desirability quotient. Similarly, the products and packaging also need a high amount of DQ, and you can actually measure it by talking to the consumers. So, so these are the few things which one has to keep in mind while designing any packaging. And if you work on these things consciously, there's a good possibility that you will create something which is liked largely by people. Now there's another word which has actually emerged, which is irresistibility. Anyone using this word anywhere? So many Bollywood heroines are irresistible, people say, but in the products and packaging, if you can create irresistibility, desirability quotient is one part, but can you make your product through your packaging irresistible? When I say irresistible, it means that the consumer is kind of bound to engage with your product. So when you look at the product in a marketplace and when you look at the packaging, it's almost a compulsion to pick it up and see what it is. So that is irresistibility, and it's becoming more important than the desirability part. That engagement with the product, where you have 1,000 products or multiples of hundreds which are similar to each other. How do you invoke this interest in the consumer so that he picks up the product and looks at it at least for a few seconds? Now, for any packaging and for any design project, also consumer or the user is extremely important, of course. Retailer in the area of packaging is, uh, keep your package in a strategic location in a shop. Now, why should retailer keep your package in the forefront? It's a fairly difficult question because you can't force a retailer to keep it in the front. So it has to be something which he feels like putting in the front and he talks about it to the consumers. Supply chain or the stakeholders are extremely important. In many of the projects which we have done, many a times these projects fail because the supply chain, which is the yield or productivity of packaging, is such which doesn't meet the requirement of the industry. So supply chain becomes one of major customers for us while you're designing the packaging, and also packaging has a lot of social implications because you use a packaging and throw it away. So if it is not eco-friendly, if it is not thought about as a green packaging, then it also creates problem for the society. So we need to take care of all these things. So there's a term which is being used in the industry a lot. It is called the first moment of truth. So first moment of truth for any product after you see the ads, after you see the TVCs, is actually Sakshatkar product which is actually enclosed in the packaging. So that's your first interaction with any product. And it's called first moment of truth. And packaging is playing, I think, the most important role in creating this kind of a perception. Now this product which I've taken randomly, I've never heard of this brand. I'm sure no one would have out here also heard about this brand. But it has certain colors, the way it is packaged. It creates a certain perception that without even knowing the brand, you would like to probably you don't mind spending a certain amount of money in it. So the perception is actually creating the value. You don't know the brand, you don't know what is there inside. But by looking at the product, you feel whatever is going to be there inside should be good only because it looks nice. So disruption, as I was telling you, the shopkeeper also doesn't want kachra in the shop. He wants something new, something different, which makes him feel proud about keeping it in the shop, and he wants something which creates beauty. So so products like these, for example, they create bling. If you see a product like this, where you don't even see the brand, but the look and feel of the product is such, where you just like to pick it up and try it out. So, so there's a kind of disruption in looks, or it could be disruptive innovation, like you said, where the bottle is actually made out of paper. So one can actually explore the technologies, the materials to do something new altogether, which creates interest in the consumer to try it out. Or it could be something like this, which I'm sure most of you would have seen this. All of you. This is a bottle cap which has been devised to remind the consumer to have water every 1 hour. They say that if you don't consume water after every hour, you get dehydrated. It's not good for health. So this has a timer. Every time you have water, you crank it, and there's a flag which comes up with a sound after every hour. So in a workplace, you are consuming water after every hour, and so this has been there on the net a lot. I'm sure most of you would have seen this. But the whole idea of creating something which is based on a gap or a consumer need within the packaging is no is what works well with the people, with the users. And the shelf which you see is they're all big brands. They all look same on the shelf. Now, how do you change so that there's a shelf throw where the consumer actually just falls for a certain package out of that clutter, or out of that a commonality which is there between all the brands, similar kind of colors happening, same kind of graphics. So these are the challenges which most of the packaging design people will face. Now, another thing which had emerged over a long time while doing many researches, especially for PNG, was that the retailer wants beauty in shop. Very simple, straightforward, direct statement it is. But it makes so much of a difference. If your product is beautiful, the retailer actually wants to keep it right in front because he feels that the shop looks nicer with the beautiful products. So the relationship between the retailer and the shop is that he wants the place to look nice. So anything which is there, you need to evaluate your packaging against you know the parameter of beauty. Is it beautiful or not? Does the retailer like it or not? So some of the examples, for example, so they look if they're put in a shop, the shop itself would start looking nicer in that area at least when you have a nice looking packaging. Or if you disrupt the form, if you change the form in a way that it stands out, it becomes almost like a point of sale material. The packaging itself becomes a point of sale. It works extremely well in the market. Now many times you have a product which is extremely small and it becomes very inconspicuous in shops and you don't know how to keep it. Especially if you look at the sachet hangs, but there are so many of them hanging together. So one of the projects which were done again for PNG was in Indonesia, and they actually retailed Vicks Formula 44, which used to be here in India many years back. It doesn't exist anymore. But they wanted to create something which was a secondary pack and a visibility device put in together. Now, when you combine these two things, it becomes challenging. Also because it has a whole lot of costs involved in it. You have to make it as cheap as possible for a product like this. So what we tried was, a flat kind of a product which is tied with a string, and a certain SKU which would be around 24 or 36 would go in one case. And as you open it, the whole thing, it hangs out, and you can hang it in any shop. So the overall mass which it creates, the overall area which it covers in a shop, catches the attention of the people in a very big way. So visibility device with packaging is again something that's critical for FMCG products. And I spoke about the experiential part of packaging. And if you look at the iPhone packaging, it is not disruptive by complex shape. It is the simplicity which is disruptive. But the way the whole thing is organized inside, it gives you a whole lot of pleasure. Each detail has been thought of. The way the cables are wound, the way they are kept in it. It is aesthetically pleasing and looks very organized. Anything which is organized gives you a positive energy. It is something which is unorganized doesn't give you that. So small little things which make a big difference. Does anybody recognize this? Yeah. So you've seen the difference between the way the food is served in the Sara. So before meal what you have and after meal what you have, the package looks exactly the same. There is no uh, you know ugly stuff which the stewardesses have to carry with them. It's a box which is closed, and there's nothing that you see after you finish a meal. When you finish your meal in any other airlines, you'll see that there's a whole lot of muck which happens on the tray. But in the Sara, they have actually thought about this packaging in such a way that when they serve you, it looks like that, and when you finish your meal, it still looks like that. Very, very neat way of presenting this stuff. This is another project which we had done, which is not related to FMCG packaging, but it was to do with the uh, UADI. UADI is what we call our unique UI. What you, so when this project was going on, and the government of India was doing this project, so a couple of companies actually working with the biometrics, and we had to create a whole workstation out of certain devices, which was a laptop, iris reader, and fingerprint reader, and whole lot of things. And we had to create a device which was to be a packaging which had to carry all this biometrics, and it had to become a work table also. So when people would go to the villages and all, they wouldn't get places to on a table to keep the stuff. And so this packaging was done for all the electronic devices put in together, and when you would open it, you would have a complete workstation in front of you. So this is the way the whole thing was organized. And when people would go to the villages, they had to actually walk a lot of distance. So this also was made a portable device, and became a big case like that. So everything was packaged in a very, very compact way, and within minutes the person, the operator, had to set up this workbench, and they could use it for the Aadhaar card purpose. Also, while you're doing these projects, there are many new ideas which come in. Many times they're not taken by the industry, but these ideas are extremely interesting, and they have a great potential to work on. So while we're doing a project for Vatika, we came out with these out of the box ideas. So when we did the research with the consumers, we found that many of the consumers do not carry oil with them while they're traveling, because they have this inhibition or apprehension that oil will leak and then will spoil the things. So the ideas which we gave for this, apart from the one which is already there in the market, these are some of the out of the box ideas. It was one of the idea was to take shower cap as the base and impregnate oil in it, and it comes as a package thing. You put shower cap on top of your head, and you can massage it without dirtying your hand. You can actually oil your hair anytime, whenever. And another This packet which you see is a massager come a primary pack, which has silicone valves. So silicone valves work only when you put pressure on it. So it becomes a primary pack, but as and when you want to use it without really hurting your hands, you can actually use it over your head and press it, and the oil comes out in spurts. Another project was where we had to give some disruptive ideas on chocolate and biscuits. So one of the insights which we got was that many children do not like to drink milk. So we thought about a biscuit or a chocolate which could be actually hooked to the mug out here, and when you're giving a child milk, it is given with a biscuit or a chocolate which catches which is tempting enough for them to have both of them. So there's a shape, a small little change in the shape like a fruit, and it creates it solves a certain problem a user needs. And again, while we're working on the packaging for Milo, we got an insight that when mothers go out traveling, they normally don't get the NFT which they want, like on Vita or Complan or anything. So when they ask the hotel people, they come out, they give something, they will put some chocolate and all. So this is a biscuit kind of a Milo tablet, which would mean that when you're traveling, at any given point in time, you can buy milk or get milk and drop one tab. And so these are the ideas which are given, not implemented. And another brief which was given for Pringle was to, if you look at the Pringle pack, which was there earlier, it was a long cylinder meant for individual eating, which would mean you open it and you have, because you had one sack of Pringle. They wanted to change the emotion behind Pringle, and they wanted to make it a shareable kind of a pack. So and they wanted to make it a low cost pack. So so we made something which was just something in the paper. When you open it, it opens up like a popcorn case. I'll just run through these. So another concept where when you open the biscuit pack for children, you keep getting a story out of it. So you keep eating and you keep eating a story. Also, disrupting the label, which is very boring right now. This is another project which we done for Wix, which was an award-winning design for a secondary pack for strepsils and Bobalo. So if you look at this container, it actually feels as if it is Bobalo. The semantics of the pack itself is something which goes well with the sound of the word. And this is an example which is not our design, but when you're designing for protection, there is no need to add material, but there's a structure that is made in a very smart way. You can actually reduce a lot of material. You don't have to fuse materials together. You don't have to have a variety of things like oil, paper, and such things. But you can make the structure in such a way that it actually protects. So some of the you know packaging is actually a huge area. I can't be covering this in half an hour. But a few things which we need to look into, and most importantly, would be to look at the technology, because like any other product, packaging also needs integration of great technologies. And and one big problem which is happening across the country, in India at least, is lots of spurious products are coming. And recently we met a client who gave us a project because 30% of their market share was taken by the spurious products. So if you can design any package which is with a great integration of new technologies, you can actually gain a good lot of market share. And many times, lots of people, and one of the examples was Shahnaz was saying, I think she loses like 50% of the market because of spurious products. Because the cream remains like whatever, and the way the packaging is designed, anybody can manufacture it. So a lot of market share goes into spurious products, and a big challenge for designers is to do something where it's extremely tough to copy their packaging. And I think this is something which all of us recognize that we are so far away from the right, sir. We are so far away that what has been done by God is something which is like way out. And I always feel that if we are able to achieve somewhere close to what you see in the fruits and vegetables, is the best form of packaging. So we are still very behind. Way behind. Thank you.
Have any questions?
Any questions? Is there a question?